Welcome to the KnobCast again. Last episode I accidentally said that Palpatine had less than 10 Star Destroyers in the original Star Wars trilogy, which was wrong. So I'm so sorry that I was wrong. Also, there's been some behind-the-scenes drama, which I love, that has just taken place with this episode, where we were going to have a guest, and he agreed to time, and then he just disappeared into the wind. So that may actually have benefited this podcast because we got a wacky one for you
for
all
later
this time.
On.
Yeah, so the first half is going to be the boys.
The boys,
the core team.
The boys.
The core team discussing some filmography films that we've seen as of late.
The homes.
And the second half, we decided we're just going to delve into a little thing that I like to call the political shit show. And we're going to invite some people on to talk about
We'll see how
their
it goes. It could go this way, it could go that way, it could go all around.
Why don't we just get right into talking about The Lighthouse?
It's all right.
That was a
good segue. This episode's all about 2019 indie movies.
Yeah,
this episode's all about 2020 because fuck 2020. Am I right? We're past 2020.
I'm gonna put a laugh track in there.
Death to 2020.
Hate it.
I hate 2020. I lost my
rate
my
2020
marriage crumbled.
A 2 out of 20.
My marriage crumbled in 2020. I stubbed my toe and George Floyd died. It's a bad year.
I like how I've completely failed to direct the conversation to The Lighthouse. That just kind of completely bounced off.
All right.
There.
So, what was your favorite part about the Lighthouse movie, Yoshi?
Mediocrity.
The mediocrity.
Wait, is that actually your opinion?
No. But we'll get to my opinion later. I have a really contrarian opinion about this movie, but you can go first, Will. Mine's gonna serve as a rebuttal toward yours because.
Oh, so your opinion is just gonna be the opposite of my opinion.
Yeah, that's my opinion. Yeah, on this movie.
Okay, I've picked up on that in the past actually. So
yeah, you have.
Kinda. Well, I mean, I didn't actually know what this movie was gonna be going into it. I just knew that Robert Pattinson was in it with Willem Dafoe, and they like yelled at each other in black and white. So like that was enough to get me to watch it.
Yeah, I actually I thought like Robert Eggers sounded really familiar to me, and as soon as I saw the trailer, I thought he was like a picture book author from my childhood, but I was wrong. He just has a picture book author kind of name. Anyway, keep going.
Well, it ended up. Why do I say fucking like that when I can't think of anything else to say?
Fucking, it's your filler words, but it's like way worse because you're gonna have to bleep it out later if you don't want to get demonetized.
You think that I bleep the swear words, dude?
Yeah, I do.
Yoshi stutters.
You're very incorrect if you think
when
that.
Yoshi can't think of anything to say, he stutters and goes. It's always a good laugh.
It's always a good laugh.
Thanks for that, Yoshi.
No problem.
Speaking of a good laugh, the movie The Lighthouse.
Oh, it's funny.
Dude, when he had, spoiler alert, but when there was the bird and then there was no bird, I was just like, I was dying.
And then the birds are at the end again.
And the birds are at the end.
Dude,
it's like
the birds
motif.
come back.
It's the bird motif, right? It's crazy. The bird motif in this film was crazy.
I don't remember anything about the movie. I haven't seen it in a year.
Really?
I remember how restless you are when you were watching it, and I thought you hated it.
No, I loved it.
Yeah,
such
to my
a good
surprise,
movie.
You pretended to like it at the end.
I was just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Well, straight up, this movie sucked me in so hard that I like much more than the average movie would. And I was near the end, and I was loving it. And then I was at my parents' house at the time, and then my mom turned on the back door light. Which because the TV is right in front of a window to the porch, the light just came into the room, and totally took me out of it and reminded me that I was watching a movie. And then I couldn't get myself sucked back 100% back into it the way it was.
Hey guys, don't you hate it when you're reminded that you're actually watching a movie?
No, but Yoshi in the theater, me and Yoshi went to watch Cats.
Oh, this is my favorite.
Movie.
Why?
Why? You know what brought me, because we were masochistic, and what really brought me out of Cats,
and there was this family behind us.
There was this guy,
was very invested
family of four behind us. Yeah, and they
Yoshi kept
they were the only other people in the movie
bullshit.
theater. And we were making fun of it, and at one point this guy behind me, I thought everyone in the theater hated it, right? But this dad behind me just started incessantly kicking my seat.
Mhm.
Like,
Whenever he opened his mouth.
Dad.
yeah,
Like a fully-
out of frustration, like an actual kick, and I was gonna
Like-
say, dude, but then I realized, like, if someone wants to enjoy this movie, they're a stronger person than I am, and I can't take that.
Exactly.
away
At the
from them.
time, like, I thought it was funny. Like, I thought it was awesome what we were doing, but in hindsight, that's the most annoying shit ever. When, like,
You just gave money to the people that made Cats.
No, that's
True.
not what we're saying. We're
no,
saying
but like a
people
group
who-
of funny high schoolers, like, sitting in the back yelling while you're trying to watch Tenet.
it
is the worst.
especially annoys me because if you unironically like cats, you're a different breed, and we should respect you. And the fact
Wait,
that we
did you
didn't
guys
give-
actually like? Were you guys like making noise during the movie?
we were just laughing. We were just
constantly making fun of
laughing.
it. We were being horrible.
Yeah.
Bro, I hate both of you. Like
Yeah, we're
even
the worst.
Sudden, no, but like, I don't know. Like, I remember when I was watching The Last Jedi. It is a terrible movie. I'm not going to deny that. But there was this group of high schoolers
Oh, boy.
who would not shut the fuck up the whole time when I was watching the movie, and like.
Yeah.
I think that they actually liked it, but I wouldn't have cared if they liked it or hated it. All that I cared about is that anytime something happened, they were like, "Oh my god!
Oh my god! Did
Leia just flew? Are you seeing that, Chris?
Yo, Sean,
Leia just
Sean.
flew in.
okay.
Porgs.
Verdana, you gotta
You can
take that
call me
out
Will.
of the
You can.
I can? Okay, that's not doxing you. Will, you have to take that out of the podcast because that's the focal point of the movie. And for anyone who still hasn't seen The Last Jedi, that's just gonna ruin. It's like, you know how like so many people got like the father plot twist in the original trilogy spoiled for them. It's kind of
Yeah.
like that. Like this is Leia doing that is the modern equivalent of finding out who Luke's father is. It's like you can't do that. It's not cool.
Is that the worst movie theater experience you've had?
No, actually, the worst movie theater experience I've ever had is when I was trying to watch Finding Dory, and some genius
fuck.
parents decided that a movie theater is the same thing as a daycare. So they not only brought their fucking screaming toddler in, but they decided that no one would care if they just like run in front of the screen playing catch and fucking
That's
like
awesome.
just. I'm not even joking.
Oh man.
And everyone in the theater, I was like, I don't remember how old I was, like 15 or something. Everyone in the theater was too pussy to say something. I was thinking of going down and fucking yelling at them, but like, I didn't like the movie like that much, so I didn't know if it was actually worth it. Because Finding Dory is just another Pixar sequel, so like, I just sat back and fucking died inside. It's like a dad played catch with his daughter, and she ran screaming around the theater.
That makes
Like,
me,
what is-
I'm very sorry.
That sucks.
That's a traumatic
And then-
experience.
I
I'm
think-
very
and then
sorry
when-
that happened to you.
When
Share
the
your
movie
truth,
ended, they were fucking. I just did it again. God. When the movie ended, they were both standing like by the exit. The dad was like holding his daughter, and he was smiling at everyone. Like he didn't even realize he'd done anything
my
like
God.
remotely wrong. And
people
everyone
just
gave
keep-
him the biggest death glare.
Yeah, they just spat on him on their way out.
Exactly. For me and you, Yoshi,
No, the worst experience we've ever had, I'm just going to cut in. The worst experience we've ever had is worse than that because me, my brother, and my father went to the movie theater thinking for even a second that we were going to see the movie Minions uninterrupted. But like all these parents thought like that was their opportunity to bring their kids to see a serious like art film, right? Like an art like an art house film, right, of the century. And we missed out on that experience because of all the kids who were laughing at the movie. They were like,
oh yeah.
and I was like, I just want
They
to
were
like,
laughing during
I
all
just wanna
like the
kick-
serious.
I just want to hurt
emotionally
these
driven
children,
parts.
right? I just wanted to hurt these children because they were like, it had been a long year, and like at the end of it, I thought at least I was gonna see a piece of history, but I
Yeah.
just didn't even get to consume it.
Okay,
because-
Yoshi. As much as I agree with you, like that's number 2 on my list.
Oh,
Absolutely.
even worse? No.
Yeah, the actual worst one. I think we were 11.
Oh,
we were
boy.
we were young boys, and we went to see the movie Big Hero 6
Oh,
in
boy.
theaters.
Oh,
And
I remember
right
that movie.
before the movie, they fucked up. Cineplex fucked up and showed this gruesome, horrifying trailer for like CBC, where there was a
Oh,
woman
yeah,
with her
yeah.
neck like cut open.
Yeah.
Like, they were
What?
screaming and shit.
Yeah, they showed the wrong
They
trailer.
really
It was-
fucked up.
it was
wait,
showed the
like
wrong-
they showed an NC-17 trailer before.
They did.
Yeah,
they
Big
did.
Hero 6. This didn't happen to me, but apparently my mom and my sister once went to a theater, and like whatever computer they're using broke on one of the trailers, so it got stuck looping the same 3 seconds of some annoying pop song, and no one realized for like 20 minutes until someone in the theater went. I think someone in the theater went out pretty quickly, but it took them a while to fix it. So they were just like, it was like the same like 3 seconds of like some like Taylor Swift song or some shit over a Coke ad over and over again.
That's amazing.
But I like how your least favorite theater experience is just children experiencing joy.
No, it's not children.
Stand that.
It's not children experiencing joy. It's children not grasping the significance of the film, and it's just like I can't imagine like just
kind of went over their heads a bit.
Who are they gonna grow up to be? You know, these are
when
like
Bob,
the John. These
Yoshi,
are
the worst. The worst is when the minion
Elliot
Bob,
Rogers
my personal favorite, looked at the camera and said "banana," and the kids started laughing. Like me, I couldn't stand that.
No,
that scene was a homage to Clockwork Orange when Alex stares into the camera at the end and says that he's cured. That scene is a homage because the bananas to the minions is the same thing as violence is to Alex.
Yeah, exactly. Like you thought
And
they weren't
the
gonna relapse and just start the character arc all over again, but they did. They went full circle, and it's about the circle of life, right?
Okay.
And that way you can put it. Okay, maybe that's a reach. I'm sorry, that's a reach. My bad.
I hate to interrupt you,
straight up.
Yoshi. The lighthouse. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Yo, before the lighthouse, really quick, straight up. I went to see Minions 2 when I was like 14 or 13. I went to see Minions in theaters too when I was like 13, and
There's no
I only went for one reason. I shit you not. I really liked like the poutine at the movie theater.
Ew.
And the caramel corn you could get there, and I was trying to find a movie to watch just as an excuse to go to get the caramel corn and shit. And I saw Minions. And I'm like, am I really gonna go see Minions with my dad just to fucking get a giant thing of caramel corn? Because those things last me for like a week. They were really big, and I actually went to see Minions just for that. So, but I ended up seeing the film of the century just by accident.
Yeah,
so I'm not complaining.
That's just like when everything in your life just works out at once, and you just kind of look into the sky and you say, "Thank you to
in
my
all
maker."
seriousness, though, when we saw that movie at the theater, no one was fucking laughing. Like maybe a couple little 6-year-olds.
Yeah, no. I made
theater was completely silent.
I don't know how a movie could fall that flat with its target audience, but that's just that was tragic.
I have a fun update. Fun podcast update time. The original guest has just responded to me.
Saying no?
No, he said, all in caps, duck. Yo, sorry. I napoed. I have no idea what I'm
that don't please don't say they really did the napo, man. That's
he napoed.
He fucking napoed me.
Wait, is that NAPO? They Northern Alberta Prosthetic and Orthotic Services Limited. You?
All right.
Is that what they did?
Okay, but we have a different plan now with other guests for the second half. So like, no one shows up when we start it, and then 10 minutes in, everyone shows up at the same time, and then they all want to be on it at the same time. It's like a
you're
10
just
out
a
of
real
10.
Popular guy. It's your curse.
But I'm not popular enough for people to show up
on time.
On
they
time.
Had another podcast to go to. They had Joe Rogan to show up to.
Yeah, but he's less important though.
I'm not saying you're.
He doesn't even have hair.
I'm not saying you're the most popular. That's me. Like I'm running 2 podcasts simultaneously right now. My other podcast is just
I'm going to
popping
keep this vague, but 1 out of the 3 people here are completely bald, not a single hair on their body, and I want you to guess who.
That is true. Did you guess, audience?
Yeah, shout it out right now. We'll hear it.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Yoshi.
Shout
Yoshi.
it.
It's Yoshi.
It's Yoshi.
Bald man.
It's Yoshi.
Bald man Yoshi. Who did you say?
I said shout it because the audience was supposed to shout it.
Oh,
but
not
you guys
us?
just,
Oh, okay. I thought you were like accusing Shadow the Hedgehog of being deficient in the hairline department, but I guess, yeah.
Don't even make me think about what any of the Sonic characters would look like bald with no hair. Like that's
3,
something that terrifies
2,
me.
1.
There's
Shadow.
a picture I have to send you.
Oh no!
Don't send me
He found it. He found
Please
it.
don't.
You have to flash this picture right now.
All right, let's
Jesus
see
Christ.
if I can actually find it.
We're about to react to it, and the audience is going to be deprived of.
Oh no, it's not Sonic or Shadow.
Oh, by
it's
the way,
Donkey
Yoshi,
Kong.
are you bald because you're currently filming Eric Andre season 5? Is that
No, I'm bald.
what you're going for?
I'm bald by lifestyle. You know, it's just like, how dare you? My hair is not a costume. Okay, it's not a costume. It's me.
All right, I got 3
Yeah.
photos for you.
I don't
just-
want to see any of them.
They're just skin. They're just. It doesn't even look like they're hairless. They just look skin colored.
They're just naked.
They're just skin colored.
The first one gets me though. I hate
Okay.
The first one.
Okay, no. The one that actually looks hairless is the bottom one. That is some.
No,
That
the
is-
first one's the worst because look at Sonic's feet.
No, but what's even, you know, that if Sonic was actually bald, like his like the, I don't know what to call them, spikes on
Yeah,
the back
his
of his
prongs.
head, they'd be like super creepy and thin and like skeletal, and like the hair is what makes him look puffy.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. You know what's very interesting? I'm just realizing now how depressing the job of being a mascot at an amusement park is. Like, I never really thought about it.
Yeah,
until
because
now.
you're the bald Sonic inside of the Sonic outfit.
Yeah, exactly.
You're him
It's-
suddenly.
and you're and you just kind of look in the mirror every day, and like every day when you wake up, you're like, wait, I'm not really Sonic. I'm just cosplaying. Like, and you just kind of realize that your life is like built on lies and just like deception.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's exactly what it is.
That's what I realized when I was dressed up as Crash Bandicoot for Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone who's listening today, go up to the first mascot you see and give them a hug, a warm hug with meaning and emphasis.
And then make sure to go home, find the first porn of the animated character, furry porn of whatever character they're dressed up as, and when you're nutting to
And
it, make sure to think of
Toss
them.
it out the window.
No. Nut to it and think of them, and it'll give them a.
Oh, not
It gives them good
think
luck.
of them. Okay, and then that way, they can be.
Yeah, that's
They-
my excuse.
they can
That's my
be-
excuse for looking at Crash Bandicoot porn all
They
the
can
day.
also feel sexual fulfillment along with the.
They will just
emotional
wherever they
fulfillment
are,
you
whatever
gave
they
them
are doing,
earlier,
they
yeah.
will climax at the same time as you.
Oh yeah, it's true. Did you know that if you think about someone when you climax, they climax like symbolically?
Wait, Yoshi, is that why have I been climaxing all the time just randomly?
Symbolically. Well, because you're
Every
just-
time you say that you have to go and you suddenly disappear, 20 minutes later
Well,
I climax suddenly.
the reason you're climaxing all the time
20
is
minutes.
is because
Don't be-
you're
Sorry, it's more
Don't
like
be that
3
generous.
minutes actually.
Yeah, there we go.
well, like when I think of depravity, I think of you, right? So that must be what it is. That's why you're
Is,
always
that, is
climaxing.
depravity just what turns you on in general? Is that
No,
what
no.
gets you off?
It's you. It's your nature, and that's why you climax
Yoshi,
all
you're
the time.
not
Answering
dodging
your
this question very well.
No, I'm saying that like he just admitted to the audience that he climaxes all the time, like every 20 minutes he said. So like I'm just theorizing. I'm just like thinking of theories as to why he would be climaxing all the time. Like
Yo,
that's
I
just-
got a few questions
that
though,
can't be
Yoshi.
healthy.
Okay, I was hanging out with you,
that
and you said
dilutes that dilutes your sperm.
You
Like,
said that
can't
you had to
have-
go. Okay, you said you had to go. You took a bottle of lube with you. You were gone for 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, I see a tweet from my favorite celebrity, Harvey Weinstein, saying he just climaxed randomly in the mall.
Oh yeah,
Can you
no.
explain that to me, Yoshi?
Well, we were hanging with our friend, also known as Vitamin Lit, on that day, and Vitamin Lit told me, you know what really gets me off, and he says, our boy Harvey, and I immediately assumed, I immediately assumed that when he said Harvey, he meant like Harvey of Harvey, right, of the fast food chain Harvey.
So you
I was
jacked
like,
off
go
to
ahead.
the concept.
I was like, go ahead, but then
Wait, hold on. Are you saying you jacked off to the concept of a Harvey's burger?
That's what I
Just-
did. But what he was doing was like I was like, whoa, man! Like you really threw me for a loop there. I wasn't
No,
expecting
by
that one.
far the funniest part about the Harvey Weinstein thing is the fact that you said he tweeted out that he just climaxed for everyone to see.
That's not- that's not-
ejaculated.
That's the kind of thing he'd actually do.
Yeah, that's not
That's
nice
above.
to tweet.
That's not above Harvey Weinstein.
I think it
behavior.
was actually quite common for him to climax in public places.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Wasn't that
that
his
whole
thing?
thing.
Yeah,
we always find ourselves like digging this hole and like making it so that this podcast just turns into like.
Jesus Christ, he looks like a baked potato. Like, holy fuck.
Oh my god.
All right, the guest seems to want to hop on. We've been going for 20 minutes.
We didn't even talk about any of the movies.
Touch on the lighthouse.
I'm a higher
Well, give it. Are we gonna finish the lighthouse? We like started it. And
I don't know what
never...
to say about it.
Okay, you know what? Let's just jump right into the political bullshit.
All right.
We've had a good enough
That
intro.
was
Let's just get into
discussing
it.
film with.
I am going to, okay, why don't we do it one at a time first? So first I'm going to add the monarchist. And then we'll get deeper.
Like, they're not going to pick up. Like, they don't.
No, they responded to me and said that they.
Okay, go.
Wait, so are you going to add him first and then like
Yeah, we're going to add him first. He's going to introduce himself. We're going to talk to
Okay.
him just a little bit and then yeah.
And then Shay.
So first off, we have a man. His name is Augustine, okay, and he is a modern day monarchist, and we are going to be. Did you laugh at his? We're going to discuss with him some political tidbits, shall we say?
Wow.
May turn into a little bit of a debate. We'll see.
Why not just go the extra mile and name yourself Septemberian?
Oh, he's
right?
here.
Oh, hey, Augustine.
All right, so thank you for joining us, Augustine. Would you like to introduce yourself and your political beliefs a little bit?
And I don't really know where to begin.
Well, why don't we just start by talking about...
Your name would be nice.
Yes.
Well, you just said my name.
Okay, well, okay.
The tape wasn't rolling. The tape wasn't rolling. It's rolling now.
Okay, why don't I ask you a specific question, and then you can answer it.
Okay.
Okay, so what is your ideal form of government?
That's actually a somewhat good question.
I was hoping.
Yes, it is the goal of to ask good questions.
Yeah, that tends to be the case.
I would say probably either a mixed constitution or absolute monarchy.
Can you elaborate on the latter?
Well, I mean, there isn't a lot to say about it, as it's a pretty simple system of government. In fact, I believe the ancients identified it as one of the three basic sorts of government.
It is definitely a basic sort of government, but
can you elaborate on the ancients for our lesser first audience members?
First, I feel like make the argument that monarchy is even, let's say, an outdated form of government.
Yeah, what makes it contemporary and timeless? Because after all, it is an ancient concept.
Like, what makes you prefer monarchy to, let's just say, fascism? That's like the more contemporary absolute power. Or
primitivism.
Right. I feel like there are several things being asked of me that I'd have to. So I guess I'll begin by saying that I don't really think that forms of government as such age. I mean,
okay.
I guess that's true, yeah. But
does society not age though? And therefore
society.
Well, I kind of understand what he's saying. So, I mean, I guess you could make the argument that a system doesn't age, but like, okay, well, are you in favor of feudalism? Because that kind of goes hand in hand with monarchy.
Not necessarily. There have been plenty of non-feudal monarchies throughout history.
Generally, they come together.
Well, yeah. As an economic system, I think I'm opposed to feudalism. In terms of the concept of having an aristocracy tied to the land, I'm less opposed to that as a concept. But that probably ties into my favoring a rather monarchical form of mixed constitution.
Okay, but if I recall,
top five members of the royal family of all time. Go.
Well, Alfred the Great, obviously.
Yeah, gotta have him.
I mean, there's a temptation on my part to say the current Queen, Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, just because...
Elizabeth, she's longevity, right?
Yeah.
Also, she's the only queen I've actually had, so...
Henry VIII was pretty epic. He did some pretty epic stuff.
I'm not. We don't condone this. Not all the members condone this.
when he like killed his wives, like based, red pill,
Based?
epic.
In all seriousness, though,
Yeah, thank you.
while his reasoning for doing so was pretty stupid, I in principle like the fact that he separated from a clearly corrupt Roman Catholic Church. And
We are
paved the
getting
way for the
into-
English Reformation, but yeah, we are now getting into my religious beliefs, which is a whole other can of worms.
It is. Well, I was gonna say something before Yoshi interrupted me to shout top 5 members of the royal family go, and I don't remember what I was gonna say. It was a question, but
He was gonna say, can you expand that to top 8?
before you even
Before
said
you
top
even
5, I was
brought
gonna.
up
That's what he was gonna
I
say.
just- anticipated you.
Yeah. We're on the same wavelength, in case you haven't noticed.
All right, well, why don't I just ask the obvious question then? This is probably what anyone would think when monarchies pitch them, but like, what happens when you inevitably end up with a shitty leader? Because that will eventually happen.
It sure
Like,
hasn't
if you
before,
look at
but it
if you
will.
look at the Roman Empire, like, just it technically wasn't by name a monarchy, but that's kind of essentially what it was. And like the throne was just so cursed. So many like weird, depraved people who like did nothing but kill people and do weird sex shit all day, like took the throne like in a row.
As to that point, I think the best. First, I want to say that I think that while monarchy does occasionally produce a really shitty ruler, for lack of better words, I think it's more or less the rule with democracy, which just breeds not even mediocrity. It's worse than that, and corruption.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Like you think that like the democratic process is like too slow and
Well,
It's
indecisive.
it's more that like
Because I wouldn't necessarily disagree with you, especially with a two-party system like we see in a lot of places
Well,
now, that it is ineffective. I wouldn't
One thing I'll
disagree on
counter
that
with
point.
is, would you rather have mediocrity or less than, or would you rather have Leopold II of Belgian fame
well
doing
I
that
ass-
stuff he did? Because every once in a while you're gonna get one of those
Yeah.
with. He's
the
not my
best
favorite. He's not my top
solution
5.
is simply to I mean, there are ways to curb the amount of bad rulers you get, but also in the case of Leopold II in particular,
Pretty
it's
contemporary.
worth noting that I'm going to get a lot of shit for saying this. He
Oh, it's
was
okay.
only
That's what we
really bad to have as a
Mm-hmm.
ruler if you were Congolese. If
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
Belgian, he was probably fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
but the
fine.
problem-
fine.
the
Fine's
problem
what
is
we're
that the-
looking for. Yeah.
The problem is that the Congolese people like existed and stuff.
Well.
Yes,
The thing I'll say is,
Like,
If
I
you-
do think that there is a genuine distinction to be made between having your own monarch who rules over your people as their monarch versus being ruled by a foreign conqueror.
well, one thing I'll say is, it was probably pretty lit to be an Aryan in the days of Hitler, was it not?
Well, I was about I agree. There is a distinction between
Yeah.
what a leader does for their own state and like what they do for the rest of the world. And there are some people who literally only care about what their leader does for their own state and don't give a shit about anything else. Because if you lived in Nazi, like technically, like Hitler on that topic, yeah, he did do good things for Germany, at least
Yeah,
initially.
hell yeah.
He did terrible things for everywhere else, but you know.
Take that
That's
bit
kind of.
where I said hell yeah out. Thank you.
I'm gonna leave that in and actually make it louder so that you
Thank
can.
you. Thank you.
It's
I
very.
mean,
That was
I
my real-
would
my
actually
real
reject
goal.
that thesis because a good number of the people that Hitler killed were in fact German citizens until he stripped them of their citizenship.
Well,
Well,
of
yeah,
course,
but,
yeah.
but
well,
of what
so-
variety is what I'm saying. Like, if you're a certain variety, it was probably really fun. If you were a conformist and if you had blue eyes and blonde hair, it was pretty fun. Was it not?
Well, now we're just talking about Hitler, and
On that
Yeah.
note, we have another guest.
Needless
that we
to
should invite
say,
in.
I do not advocate Nazism.
But did you advocate Leopoldism? Who is a monarch?
If you mean by that conquering the Congo and cutting off people's hands, then no.
Oh, okay, just wondering. 15 million
I have to be
pairs
quite
of
out of my
hands.
mind.
But that's a product of
begin
monarchy, is what I'm
advocating
saying. That's a product of monarchy. So where do we draw the line?
Again, I would say in that case it's not a product of monarchy as such, but the fact that with respect to the Congo, Leopold was a foreign conqueror and a tyrant.
Which is a monarch. Many monarchs have been foreign conquerors and tyrants.
I feel like
so I'm pretty sure...
Augustine, one could counter what you just said by saying that it was only through a system like monarchy he was enabled to do something like that.
Yeah.
Like if it was a democratic system, like he couldn't have just gone in guns blazing and like.
And does monarchy
probably...
not give him the false sense of grandeur and like, like kind of like freedom to act on his impulses like that? The fact that he believes that he's,
I think that inspecting the psychological motives for the barbarism perpetrated by a Belgian king who's been long dead is a little beyond my powers.
All right.
But
all right, that's
to move. What were you saying, William? Before I had to respond to that because you were saying.
Well, I was just getting a little bit into the differences between a democratic process and a process where there's only one person in charge. I mean, I don't know. Is the thing you're advocating for it's not even technically a one-party state, is it? It's just a one-person state?
Pretty much, yeah. I despise the concept of partisanship and political parties.
Okay, but a lot
what
of the...
What makes one family superior over others, would you say?
I mean, I wouldn't even say superior as such, but
I think what he means is he doesn't like any party. I think that's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
And just having some random schlub who has the last name,
some like inherited
Kingsbridge is better.
Well, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Well, there should be
I was going to say
that's fully in your power.
Sorry. I want to return to the thing about the Congo because it's going to bother me if I don't say this, but I think that one could very easily find examples of atrocities of a similar character perpetrated by, say, the French Republic.
I don't disagree that, like, a lot of...
I think it has more to do with the fact that a good number of Europeans regarded Africans as subhuman than monarchy.
Yeah, I wouldn't make the argument that it was just monarchy that enabled that. It was a combination of things, and Europeans seeing themselves as superior.
To me, it goes into the subject of what makes it better. Like, why mediocrity? Why say other systems, products of other systems can produce mediocrity when that is a product of the system that you're advocating?
Well, actually, why don't you I'll let you answer that first.
Well, I don't really see it as a product of monarchy as such, but rather just 19th century European views on, well, race.
And aren't 19th century Europeans the exact people who laid the bedrock for this monarchy thing? Well, not 19th century.
Well, not really at all, actually.
You'll find that monarchy is a pretty universal institution spanning pretty much every culture that I can think of, at least cultures that have something we could recognize as a form of government.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
the point you made.
Why choose the 19th century Europeans and not the 5th millennium BC Chinese?
Well, we could talk about them too.
The point you made earlier about how the French Republic also committed atrocities, and atrocities can be committed under a democratic system, are true. And I agree with, and you need to look no further than the kind of shit that the FBI and the CIA gets up to, and they've especially been doing over the past few decades, especially under the Reagan administration.
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. And you also got MK Ultra and false imprisonment of like Black Panthers in the 50s and 60s, so... I absolutely agree that obviously under democratic system, like atrocities and abuse of human rights can still happen, and corruption, yeah. But I think that when a power is centralized with one person, and there's less institutions in place that you'd find in a democratic system to help deal with this, and the politician cannot be voted out of office per se if they start doing shit like fucked up shit like this, then you're going to see it happening in far greater numbers than you probably would in a democratic system. That's why the FBI has to keep this shit secret, and they succeeded in doing that for decades, whereas with a monarchy they could be as public about it as they want because the people can't actually do anything. That's a core difference between the two ideologies, and I think I agree. Like corruption is possible in democracy, but it's going to be a lot more rampant.
Well,
I disagree completely. I would say actually that First of all, I don't think that either system of government necessarily produces more crimes against humanity per se, as that has to do.
Well, it all depends on the people.
That's a fair.
It all depends on the people in power. Like theoretically, theoretically, if you had a perfect leader who would never die and he was perfectly virtuous, then in that system, monarchy would theoretically be the best system because he'd be able to do whatever he wanted with no pushback if he was a perfect person. But the problem is we live in a world where that's not the case, and not only even if you get a good leader, he will die and be replaced with like
anyone,
his insane son who likes torturing animals and shit.
Yeah.
So
or like Leopold and the sequel of Leopold. There's a difference in my opinion.
I think one of the most common critiques that I've seen of monarchy is, don't you think the people that these leaders have the greatest effect on should have some sort of say in which singular person is controlling everything about their country?
Yeah, what makes lineage more less irresponsible than the people deciding, in your humble opinion?
Yeah.
Well,
why lineage?
Why lineage? Because
why not like an OLG lottery or like something like that?
For one thing, lineage gives you enough time to educate the heir presumptive in the tasks associated with being a monarch.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is an advantage there in that you can prepare the next ruler for the throne. The other thing that I think, although it's not so much a preference, an argument for monarchy over, say, sorry, words getting mixed up in my head.
That's fine.
I guess the other thing would be that a monarch for whom the country is sort of like the family estate in a way would naturally be more invested in it than someone who wins it in a lottery. In that, it's something that's
and what happens when it's
why don't we just let him finish? Something that their ancestors have spent their entire lives working on to build, and when it comes to them, ultimately, if they do a bad job and die, it's their own children or cousins that they're screwing over. Whereas if you don't have any
Well, can I respond to some of the things you said?
Sure, but I'm not quite finished. I also wanted to address why I favor the sort of random and
Well, okay, it's just, can I address some of the things you said before that, and then we can get into the second half, because otherwise I'm going to forget everything that's in my head right now.
Sure.
Okay, so on the topic of lineage, at one point you said that it gives rulers the chance to be prepared, like throughout their life for taking the throne, which isn't untrue. But I think what we've seen many times in history over and over again, whether it be the Roman Empire or feudal Europe, is people who are born rich and set to be the next king end up becoming incredibly spoiled and end up developing an attitude of superiority, and they end up becoming terrible leaders because they've lived a life where their whole life they've kind of believed that they can do whatever they want and have no repercussions. I'd argue someone who has to actually earn their way to that position is better suited to rule because they've proven themselves. I mean, even if you look at like the Caesars, for an example, like they were dictators, but Julius Caesar had to actually claw his way up because he was actually very clever. And the Caesars actually were not, even though they were dictators, they weren't bad leaders for Rome. On the contrary, they're quite great emperors. But then once they died, suddenly you've entered the leader lottery.
Yeah.
And suddenly all these terrible emperors who just, like I said, they kill people at random. They destabilize the empire. They're more preoccupied with like their sexual ambition than anything else.
Shout out Caligula.
Over and over again.
My God.
We get like Nero. We get like Caligula. Like
shout out Caligula.
Shout out to Caligula. Like, I believe, didn't Caligula declare war on the sea itself and tell his soldiers to attack the sea?
Didn't Caligula Caligula F all his family members in the literal sense?
One of the leaders had sex with their sister a lot. I don't remember which one. It was around that time.
No, it's definitely he's like
old-timey.
What makes Caligula cool is that as far as like the standard of Roman emperors go, he's considered the depraved one. He's considered this right? Like
who was the Roman Empire? There was one who like he was a huge slut and he wanted to get banged by like every Roman soldier that walked, like who, I don't remember who he was.
Probably
but there was no, it wasn't him, it was someone else. He wasn't as bad as Caligula, but like he was like a giant slut and all he wanted was to get fucked in the ass all day.
I love that. Like, and that's lineage for you, right? That's
the kind of president we need.
Well, I would actually argue that in most cases, the Roman system wasn't an example of lineage as such. Most successions in the Roman Empire were essentially military coups, where an ambitious general decided, especially once you get to the 3rd century, it's pretty much mostly military coups. Only a handful of Caesars were direct descendants of each other. Most of it was a case of them choosing a person to adopt. And
okay, but why don't we look at an example when it's only or usually only lineage, because you are correct that there are a lot of military coups with the Roman Empire. Why don't we look at medieval England, and why don't we look at leaders like Bloody Mary, or like I already mentioned, Henry VIII.
A great! I love Bloody Mary.
And I know that you like. I know that you're Protestant. You like that Henry VIII turned England away from Catholicism, but Bloody Mary, she turned England towards Catholicism. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like,
yes.
So I'm assuming that you hate her.
I'm genuinely not. Well, I'm generally not keen on the policy that she had of burning Protestants at the stake. That is true.
Oh, that's not a banger. I agree. That's not a banger.
Not quite.
Not quite. Her name's a banger. I gotta admit.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
But our
is it time to bring on
guest that
getting
we
restless?
Booked is getting very impatient, so I think we should try
Okay. Well, why don't we just quickly take 1 minute to just sort of wrap up this conversation? Yeah. We're going to introduce someone with some very different, but also not completely different.
All right. So closing remarks. So why would we have lineage over choosing a bunch of successors out of a hat and still conditioning them to lead for their entire lives?
Well, again, I think it's ultimately down to a mixture of time preference, or I forget the term, but
duration,
ability to think in the long term, and specifically in multi-generational terms.
So locking up the future of your government is preferable to
choosing long-term. Choosing strategies that will work out in the long term and policies that will work is better than a system designed to favor short-term expediency.
Well,
is it not?
I think.
So,
hold on. I think. Unless I'm wrong, the thing you're talking about is that democracies can kind of flip-flop a lot. You get like a Republican government, and then the Democratic government undoes what the Republican does, and vice versa, and you get a deadlock.
Genuinely think that democracy is incapable of effective long-term decision-making.
Well, I don't think.
Wait.
Hold on.
This also applies here with just picking leaders out of a hat, in that they don't have any reason to be invested in what occurs to the state after their
well, that's not quite true, because their reputation hangs in.
Hold on.
I want to say the thing I was going to say before.
Will's turn.
Sorry. Yeah. What? I didn't get to finish the point I was making. With like the thing that with monarchy, I don't think that long-term plans are inevitable either, because I mean, not only will the ruler obviously die, and I mean, you make the argument that like their children will be left to pick up the pieces, so they're going to want to leave the kingdom in good hands. But that's we've seen a lot throughout history. Again, looking at like Bloody Mary versus Henry VIII, where one monarch who's the child of another, or at least closely related in the bloodline, just basically undoes like what the last monarch does because they fundamentally disagree with them. So you can debatably get the same kind of flip-flop that you get in democracy with a Democrat government being followed up by a Republican one or whatever. Right. So monarchy is not impervious from that.
But I think that there is something more to it than that. In monarchy, there's an actual incentive to care about, at least leave the kingdom in a good state.
Well, there is in democracy too, because someone's reputation depends on.
Wait. How?
Why not just favor what is politically expedient in the short term over what will work out in the long term?
Well,
though?
I agree to some extent. Like you look at Venezuela, and like Chavez kind of rigged the economy to perform well in the short term, but he made everything too reliant on oil, which like fucked everything up.
Why is like some figurehead family in power, I'm sorry if you object to that term, but in power, like better at capturing the needs of a cultural zeitgeist more than a ruler chosen by the people who are living said cultural zeitgeist? I don't think the
cultural zeitgeists are things that should be captured.
Okay, maybe not capturing zeitgeist,
and adhered to is eternal truths.
Eternal truths, but like what I'm saying
culture
is like
changes and technology changes and
society
civilizations
changes,
change.
and so do like social issues you have to address as a leader of the country. And if you're pulled up in like an establishment, whatever, like if you're part of a figurehead family, how can you adhere to those if you're not chosen by the people who are actually living those like experiences?
I'm not even entirely sure I understand what the objection is.
Can I finish up the... Yeah, I Googled it. So what I meant to say was Chavez made the government way too reliant on oil prices to, in the short term, benefit himself, and then it collapsed. And even though Maduro is a shit leader, everyone blames him when Chavez also should take part of the blame. So should the U.S., by the way. They put 100 sanctions on Venezuela and then blamed it on socialism, but that's a totally different can of worms. anyways, that can happen in democracy, but like, I don't think that there's an incentive necessarily to do that, because I mean, you also look at let's just look at the United States for an example. Like people still blame Obama for shit today, and he hasn't been in office since early 2017. So clearly, people aren't just instantly absolved the second they leave office. People are still going to be scrutinizing what you did. I mean, people still scrutinize like Reagan today because he was very influential in politics. I don't think someone's likely to get off scot-free if they leave the country primed to fail. And people are, on the topic of Venezuela, people have been picking up on the fact that Chavez was a huge contributor to the downfall of the country as time has been going on. So like, I don't think there's an incentive.
By the time they're out of office, what does it matter?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming they don't want everyone to hate them.
That's true.
Properly speaking, the goal of a leader is to
benefit their country, yeah.
Ensure the prosperity of their country's people, but not every leader has that goal as their goal, if you understand what I'm saying.
Okay, but yes, I understand what you're saying, but like what you're saying is that in democracy, what is prioritized is just short-term gains and looking good, but I don't know why that would be any different in a monarchy, because you could make the same argument that once someone's not on the throne anymore or dead, like if they could prioritize short-term gains and then let it collapse under the next monarch and just blame them. Like it's no different.
Except for the fact that the next monarch is in all likelihood their eldest son. And I don't think that... I think you'll find that it goes against human instinct to set up your own children for failure. The other thing is that you must keep in mind that democratic leaders don't just reign for life the way a monarch does. They have to, every 4 years, go back to the people and remain popular enough to get reelected, and so that necessarily means that they're going to have to do what's popular in the short term in order to keep their job, and that might not necessarily be what's actually good for the country in the long term.
I agree, but like with monarchy, there's literally nothing. Like there's no performance review. They just stay in office no matter what they do.
Also,
so like, there's no more
family...
incentive to actually benefit their state there than in democracy. If anything, it's the other way around, where people might see through you if you're trying to do short-term gains. It might backfire, and you might get voted out of office.
If your
and
family's
anyways,
established,
we have to close up. We have
yeah,
to close up really quick because we're gonna let the last guest on. So Yoshi, just say whatever you're gonna say, and then.
Oh yeah, if your family is established since the beginning of recent memory. If they're established as the upper rung of a society, and they're in that position, in the upper echelon of society, how can you be sure they're going to stay in touch with the needs of the working class more than say someone who can actually say they've lived that experience?
Well, I'm not sure if I could supply an argument in terms of clear reasoning as for why this would be the case, but I think experience, at least my own experience of life under a democratic regime, has shown that oftentimes politicians are just as out of touch with what as any king could be, and I would actually say more. I think that Her Majesty, for example, probably has a better understanding of the values of the people,
of the working class in Britain.
Okay, but hold on. Queen Elizabeth. When you're talking about politicians who are
elected officials, I would probably say, actually, at this point, someone like Mitch McConnell.
Well, I mean, I agree that I don't like Mitch McConnell. I think he's out of touch. I don't
Nancy Pelosi. Pretty much anyone.
So you think if these people had absolute power, they'd be more in touch than now when they have the risk of getting voted out?
No, I don't want them to be monarchs.
But what you're advocating for is a system of monarchy, not necessarily a person to hold that slot. We're kind of going in circles, and we need to let the next guest on. So why don't we just?
All right.
We'll end this for now, and
so,
you can stay on, Augustine, if you want.
The next guest is a pretty right-wing guy.
Yeah.
So let's check him out. So we're gonna ask him what his political ideologies are.
Update: Augustine has just left. We do not know why, but he's no longer here. So I wish him well. We have a new guest who is also right wing, but from what I hear, probably more so.
What, me? We got to. Okay.
Would you like to introduce yourself? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, well, my name is Shazen Santos Williams. My hobbies include programming, mathematics, and music. And my favorite brand is probably My Bloody Valentine, and my favorite cat is my cat, Indy.
Hey,
okay, that's pretty.
My Bloody Valentine. Can you sing Only Shallow for us, but just the guitar part?
And
then she goes. That's what she goes. Yeah.
You know, I used to delve into programming stuff when I modded Hearts of Iron and shit. And then I always
you play Hearts of Iron? Are you sure are you right wing?
No.
Okay, that's a bit of an oxymoron. But
playing Hearts of Iron and not being right winged. I know. I'm aware. Yeah. I play all the Paradox games.
I think Mika might have introduced me. I don't know how we're going to go about this. I guess you guys could ask questions, or I could do longer of an introduction.
Why don't you just sort of introduce?
Can we preface this by saying please leave the Zencaster running after you leave? Because we just had an issue where we may or may not have deleted all the audio of the recent guest.
I do believe it will still be there. It'd be nice if it's still there.
It's not. It's not still here.
No, last time everything showed up after you guys left, an hour later.
Okay.
But we'll see. But anyways, why don't you just sort of introduce your ideal political government?
Not a problem. I mean, first, let's take a journey back in time to Design Studio with Mika about a year ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think this all stems because I was arguing with someone in my class about basically semantics, saying I believe in national. I don't believe in nationalism, but I'm a pretty big patriot for Canada. So I was saying, by definition, if it were to follow the definition, I would also be okay with socialism and nationalism to some extent. Not nationalism, because that involves hungry for power. But I am a patriot. So I was going on saying, well, by definition, I would probably agree with them, but I'm not a Nazi because Hitler was insanely anti-Semitic and didn't care about socialist policies, like George Orwell type stuff.
Can you elaborate on agree with them?
Agree with whom?
Them.
Okay.
Wait, hold on.
So,
are you
I don't
actually,
agree with
because the idea that I had from Mika is that you were like super right wing. Is that not the case?
No, I'm super left wing.
God damn it,
I'm
Mika, I thought
a
he was-
market
you said he was-
socialist.
you said he was a
converted.
fascist.
He's converted.
You said he
Yeah,
was
I'm
like
converted.
an authoritarian.
Yeah, that's why
No.
I thought he was.
You said
That's
he was
why
a
I brought this back
fascist.
to.
We were supposed to debate a fascist.
You're supposed to be a Nazi
Wait. No, I know how we can fix this. Shazen, can you cosplay as a Nazi just for
pretend
this
to be a Nazi
podcast?
for us.
We don't even have that many viewers.
I'm not a Nazi,
it's
so I'm
okay.
gonna have to
No,
just
don't
pretend.
say that. You're already failing. You're not.
Yoshi, this is the internet. People would love to see a socialist get taken down, Yoshi.
Oh, that's true.
Can you pretend
true.
to be? Can you here? I'll cosplay as the guy who's ranting against PC culture, and can you be the feminist getting really triggered by that?
Okay. Well, like, in the name, why can't there be girls in the Boy Scouts? We got to be inclusive here.
Because it's literally in the name Boy Scouts. Got
Hey,
him.
man. I mean,
I'm gonna play an applause sound effect right now. Right after I said that.
Literally in the name, buddy.
I don't like killing babies, okay? Let's say, hypothetically, you were a baby and I were about to abort you. Let's say, in that case, would you not be then a life being taken?
Let's say, hypothetically, okay, so let's say that I've been a
music
bad boy,
theorist
okay?
father that went to music school.
Okay, my music theorist father
who
said
went
that
to music
rap,
school.
okay, rap is not real, okay? And he made a very
Rap is
solid
not music, okay?
very
What is
solid
music?
arguments, okay?
Music is
Because
harmony.
rap
It has
does not
the
have
elements
harmony.
of rhythm. It has.
It needs to have rhythm.
When I say gangsta gangsta, that's not a song.
Okay? And rap obviously does not have melody because some people say that a thing called beats exist, and those do not exist. That's not a thing. Rapping is just a cappella of a voice, so there's no actual melody or harmony in the music. Okay, it's just a voice. Okay, and a voice obviously does not give off a frequency unless you're singing. So there's no actual pitch to rapping, obviously. And rappers never ever auto-tune themselves to a note usually. They just sort of do rhythm. So all that exists in rapping is rhythm, and thus it is not music. So
Gotcha.
it's actually slam poetry.
So
That's what
me
all rap
introducing
is.
this new guest as a Nazi was a bit of a misunderstanding, I guess.
I guess so.
Mika, I literally called you like a week ago and told you I wasn't a Nazi.
Yeah, that's what a Nazi would say.
Okay, I'm actually secretly a Nazi. Hitler was right.
Whoa,
Prove it
okay.
right.
Use that part. We can use that. Last
Yeah.
one.
Just cut
Say it
that.
again.
Yeah, no! I already said my name. I'm gonna be sent to. I'm gonna be owned by feminists on Twitter.
Oh, we can use that too.
No. Canada doesn't have free speech laws. I'm gonna be hashtag cancelled.
What are your top 5 times that you've practiced abstinence?
The top 5 times that I've practiced abstinence. Number 1, Miko and Leaf once challenged us to who could not masturbating the longest.
No one knows who Leaf is.
Okay, he's like this super
so
big
for the
Nazi or
audience,
something
yeah,
like
for
that.
Oh, he's a Nazi? Wait,
Yoshi,
Misha, can we bring him on?
Yeah, of course.
No,
Yoshi, me and Yoshi saw the Seinfeld episode where they try to go as long as they can without jerking off.
I saw that too.
And I wanted to do that with my friends.
I failed 3 days in.
I did that once. And I'm such a. The challenge wasn't to see who can go the longest. It was just to see who would not fail first. So there's one loser basically, and we went a week, and one dude forgot we were doing it and jacked off in the morning. And the second I heard the news, my pants were down instantly. That was 2 years ago.
Why were your pants down, Sir William?
Because I was thinking of you. Did you get a random climax?
I did. I got it in the mail. I got it.
You guys are like women whose periods are in sync. You know, you're just your homies' nutsacks are in sync.
We can use that too.
Exactly.
Personally, I find it really, really comedic that if I were to just walk up to all three of you and say abortion, you would feel uncomfortable, no? Because it's such a taboo word.
No,
but if I walked up to you and I said, refusing to have sex, you'd probably be like, okay, that's a thing people do. People do that.
The longest.
Honestly, I'd still consider you weird
you're
either way.
acting like you haven't done both of those to me on multiple occasions and didn't walk away.
I haven't aborted you, or I haven't refused to have
you're acting like you wouldn't in school in the cafeteria just walk up to the lunch ladies and yell abortion and then run away doing the Naruto run.
Okay, Will, you're the one with footage of you walking up to me unsuspecting in English class before I even knew you and just yelling random shit to me.
No, the actual footage is of me going up behind you and pressing your pressure point on the back of your neck.
I didn't know this cat. I didn't know him.
And I tried to find the video of it. I couldn't find it, but I know it exists.
Wait, what happened after
before
you
I knew
touched
Yoshi,
his
I was very
pressure point?
mentally challenged in grade 10, and I went up behind him and I pressed his pressure point at the back of his neck when he was in a conversation with someone else.
Yeah.
And I'm like silently into the camera and made like a sound effect.
That's fucking awesome.
He really hit a nerve that one time.
Okay, Yoshi, you yelling abortion isn't funny, but him doing that is the funniest shit ever. So there's a big difference.
I'm genuinely unsure about when I'm doing the time codes if I should call this segment abstinence or yikes.
You should do it like new abortion
in brackets. I think
you should
I'll
call
just go
you call it Shazen's Confessions, and you just feature the parts where he said, "I love Hitler." Abortion.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Can we bring on an actual Nazi
so
to like make fun of though? Because that would be fun.
I don't know where to find actual Nazis.
Do we have an actual Nazi? What about Matthew?
He's not a Nazi. He's just really weird.
At this point, I could just invite the most random people on. Like I can invite random people from our high school that are currently online.
Our high school?
I don't want to do that. Is the only thing stopping me. No, not like I said random people. Yes, I'd love to. Okay, I have to fucking. You just doxed.
No, don't cut that out. Don't cut that out. That's fine. We'll see what happens.
No, but we're arguably giving him promotion.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Do you really want that?
Band,
nah.
My former band.
Yeah, he's a really big fan of his former band that he was in high school.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I'll put a clip of it right here.
Yeah, please do.
There'll be a clip there in the final. It'll really
we'll
cement.
Okay, so Shazen, closing thoughts. Hitler, yay or nay?
Nay.
No.
Big nay.
He said yay.
Okay, hold on. Okay. This is a more important question, okay? Onision, yay or nay?
I don't know anything about him. I've never watched him before.
Is that a yay? Is that a yay?
What if we tied it all together in like a nice little bow and said, all right, monarchy or democracy?
Benevolent dictator.
That's not what I said.
No,
that's
dictator.
actually interesting. We should have been getting into that the whole time.
Yeah, why don't we?
Hold on. Okay, so you're not a fan of democracy. You're more a fan of like a.
No, I'm a big fan of democracy. I'm saying in a perfect world, like literally like Star Trek style stuff. There'd be communism plus a benevolent dictator.
That's literally the exact same thing I said to the last person. We're in a perfect world. That would be the best system, but we don't live in that world, unfortunately. Yeah. Okay, well, we don't actually disagree on much, so it wasn't much of a debate.
It's okay. We got good news.
There's like one thing that we slightly disagree on. That's like the only. We spent 20 minutes on it.
You're a market socialist?
We have enough sound bites of him saying regrettable shit that he'll regret. That we
make a
yes,
Jason
that is true.
soundboard of it. Just him
we have
saying
enough to get
horrible
him canceled on Twitter for sure.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so smart. Will, you're a fucking genius.
You know what I'm thinking to close it out? I'm thinking for the ultimate meme, we invite back the guest we had on the first podcast, which never aired, who left 10 minutes in and then bombed the recording and ruined the entire recording.
Sam? Is his name Sam? Is that the weasel's name? Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, we actually had a entire like hour and a half of talking, and the whole thing got ruined because he spammed links to the Zencastr all over the internet, and it fucked up the bandwidth amount so much.
He kept recording and was shit talking us like to his friends while recording.
Yeah,
like,
it was awesome. It was awesome. I'm gonna put that audio right. I'm gonna put that audio right here.
Retarded.
It's the worst thing. Like, Henry and I left so early on because it was a travesty. You trust me. All right. Nothing. He doesn't have any plan at all. I don't know, man. It's so bad, Josh. I can't even begin to ask William's podcast. I you know what? He says he's gonna upload it. Just I don't know why. Just listen to it when he does, because like it's just I can't even begin to describe it. Nothing. We were talking about like Kanye very briefly, and then like they just had us introduce ourselves. You got me to mention like, oh, I got cyberbullied by H3H3, I guess. By the way, I'm still recording onto his podcast right now, so they actually can't hear me recording.
Podcast.
We want to make him saying that the outro of every podcast. Just
yes,
retarded.
I made an outro song, but I will definitely feature it. When I make a soundboard, I'm going to put that onto the soundboard, and like when I hit a button, it'll be him being like,
"Yeah,
you don't even get it. They didn't even plot anything out. It's so bad. They're all so annoying. You don't even get it."
It's awesome.
Will's gay podcast. It's so gay.
Oh yeah, gay people. Shazen says trans rights. That's my closer.
I agree.
Oh yeah, trans rights.
So we can kind of spin that to make it say, like, Shazen says trans rights, and then we can take the thing that you said earlier with isn't hip, and then we can close it.
Okay.
Trans rights isn't hip. You hear the cut? It's like, not trans rights isn't hip.
Okay, can you do us a favor and mute yourself on the Zencastr, but not close the tab? Like, just
you got it.
Thank
I just
you.
clicked the little button.
Wait,
or stop recording.
What if Shazen is like, we have a nice little season ender, like we're all happy and we all sing our song, like,
and then Sam comes in and ruins it.
Reunites at the end. No,
what
he's
a great idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for coming on. I actually liked that dude. Now Sam, the final of the three.
All right. Oh, this is such a good episode, man. I can already tell. Oh my goodness.
And just to end off today, we have invited the guest who was on an episode that none of you will ever see because of Sam.
By popular
Sam.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay, so basically, Sam, I haven't told you this yet, but you were on an episode for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then you left because you hated it.
Yeah. You don't have to have told me that I was there.
And then basically, actually, what I haven't told you is that, so you sort of started posting the link all over the place to the Zencastr that we're recording into, if you recall.
I do recall, yes.
Well, what you actually did is that so many people joined that it fucked up the bandwidth and made all of us unintelligible. So the entire hour and a half was rendered unusable because you spammed
is that actually
links.
True?
Yes, you ruined the
How
entire
many people joined?
Like a lot of people, because
like
certain
10.
people that you gave
like...
the link to put it on, like, I think 4chan and certain other places.
I apologize. I mean, I feel terrible and also amused at the same time.
Yeah, that pretty much. But anyways, we had to do a different first episode after that.
Is that this, or is this another episode?
This is actually episode 4.
You're kidding, and you still haven't... Wait, so have you uploaded other episodes?
No, because, you see, there was a silver lining to you ruining the first episode, Sam, because it was kind of a bit of a shitty episode, so we kind of learned our lesson. And
You're welcome.
The actual first episode is definitely a lot better, but you know, it'd still be nice to like have that one.
No, I just watched the movie Whiplash, and I sort of feel like the teacher in that, because by being a shitty person to
Yoshi lives that lifestyle. Yoshi lives that lifestyle of
I do live that lifestyle. You know, like the scene
being
where
bullied
he
by
gets in a
J.K.
car-
Simmons.
where he gets in a car crash and then he runs to the show.
Did that happen to you?
Well, that's how I go to school every day. That's my entrance every day. I get in a car
He crashes
crash
his car like in
Yeah.
And then J.K. Simmons is there to
and then I tackle
give you a
him
fun
every
time.
time. Just it's our thing. It's our
I like that movie a lot the first time I
tradition.
watch it, and the more I think about it, the dumber the movie is.
Yeah, but what I love is just beaming about it to like jazz drummers I know and just seeing them lose their shit. Like he wouldn't actually bleed like that. That makes no sense. He just had really bad technique.
Imagine watching a movie like that and complaining about how accurate the technique was.
Yeah, that's actually what they do though, because they live and breathe that shit, and it's like
imagine living and breathing jazz.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine doing that, and it's like they feel like their culture is being appropriated. is how someone described it to me. Like, okay, sorry for the misrepresentation of your people.
It's a sports movie. That's what Adam Neely said, and I think that's accurate.
Oh yeah, Adam Neely, everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
I that's not sarcastic. I like.
No,
what I want to see is Whiplash 2, where the kid from the first one grows up and shaves his head and becomes like the same as J.K. Simmons.
Oh,
yeah, full circle.
Oh yeah.
Genius.
And he's also played by J.K. Simmons.
And then the kid who he bullies is played by the same actor who played the kid in the first one.
It's just the same exact movie.
It's just the same movie actually.
But everyone's wearing a different shirt.
Yeah, but the names are swapped.
Yeah.
I'd pay to see that.
Yeah, it's like the guy who remade.
They could call it Whipperlash. Because it's even Whipper.
Most should I've ever heard.
Whiplash-est.
And then the third one's called Whiplash Whipwrecked, as opposed to Shipwrecked.
Then you know how the Whiplash to Whiplash-est.
Or Whiplashes.
Whiplasher. Oh yeah, Whiplasher.
Because that makes it so that
J.K. Simmons is Whiplasher.
Oh, it's a verb.
Yeah, it is.
You know how movies always when it hits the fourth movie they stop numbering it or doing whatever they're doing, and the name of the movie is the name of the main character, so it's like John Rambo or whatever. The fourth one would just be called Terrence Flesher.
Yeah, it would.
No, it's
like in the same sense.
Or no. It'd actually just be called Fletcher.
Fletcher.
Is it Fletcher? Yeah, Fletcher.
And by that point, the Whiplash universe is already such a brand that they know
the WCU.
Yeah, exactly, the WCU. And then people, yeah, there you go.
Dude, when are they gonna make Whiplasher-est, directed by Christopher Nolan?
What I want to see is the extended universe where there's the same movie, but it's with bass playing and it stars Yoshi.
Oh, it stars me? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I throw a bass at someone, but it doesn't get very far.
You see, Terrence's attack is that he throws a chair at you, and that's his signature fighting style throughout the extended universe.
Is that for
what Andrew does?
That's the new Smash Bros. Character, Terrence Fletcher.
He just throws his chair and yells at you.
Andrew's fighting style is that he plays the drums so loud that you bleed.
Yeah, that's
he
good.
cries like a little bitch.
No, you know that one really cool thing where Terrence Fletcher approaches him and he plays the crash cymbal and almost hits him in the face? That's his move. He goes up to you and plays the crash cymbal.
But his gimmick
but it's a really big hitbox, so it's
he can only stay in one place at once. When he sits down, he's there for the rest of the match.
Yeah. What do you think Terrence's smash attack would be in Smash Bros? The most powerful.
It would be calling you. What does he call the? Elmer Fudd. You'll be calling him Elmer Fudd.
No,
No. It would be specific to each fighter.
Or a slap.
No, it would be giving the entire talk about how about what was it again? Oh yeah. The worst thing a teacher can say is "good job."
Oh yeah,
he just gives that entire.
Right in the face.
That's when you get the smash ball, and he just appears on screen and starts talking about his teaching ideology, and everyone takes 100 damage.
Yeah,
and anyone within a certain radius is hypnotized into performing a deadly drum solo that causes them to bleed to death.
Were you rushing or dragging?
What would actually be cool is if he had an insult directed for every single character in the game for the smash attack.
Kirby. Oh, that's good.
For Mario, it would be.
Mario would be dragging. Sonic would be rushing always.
Oh yeah, Sonic rushing.
I feel like his insult for Donkey Kong would just be really racist.
Yeah,
What
because
is
he
the
was like
ideology-
racist to the show a bit.
What is the moral of Whiplash? Is the moral that it actually creates great drummers to be an abusive cunt?
The morale
Andrew becomes
is if you abuse your student and then that student like appeases you after you abuse them, then everyone's happy.
Yeah.
That movie is a weird moral where like Andrew becomes great because he got abused and slapped
Well, I
and
think
shit.
the message is at what cost?
Well,
I think
I don't think he would have be. I think the idea is he wouldn't have become the great drummer if it wasn't for him getting abused and shit.
Well, we don't actually know that he becomes the great drummer. What if like
Because he puts on a great show at
what
the
if
end of
that's
the movie.
what if that's that smile at the end that Terrence Fletcher gives is like he's smiling sadistically because he knows that his career's over.
True.
He knows
What
that
I
he's
like-
about to get chased out of the theater.
What we gotta love about the movie is Terrence Fletcher acts all cocky when he puts Andrew on the spot and he like doesn't have the right music, so it's like it's gonna end his career. But I don't think that Terrence Fletcher quite realizes that not only has he given up drumming, but you're actually ruining your career because this is your show. And
Yes, sure.
this is the drummer you picked, and this is actually reflecting on you more than anyone else. I don't think he thought that one
To
through, actually.
embarrass Andrew so much that he's willing to end his entire fucking career over it.
Yeah, he just hates. He's just
all
like,
he
"Fuck
wants.
you, kid."
I'm gonna make it so you can't drum even though you already gave up drumming, and I'm gonna end my career that I still pursue just to do it, bitch.
The thing is, though, like
Single here.
Terrence Fletcher is the music industry, right? Like, so it's not really like the plot twist is he's actually the judge. Like he judges whether or not you get a record deal or not. So it's like, you know, he's like playing like 5-dimensional chess.
He is
and just trying to,
Pitbull.
like,
He's Pitbull.
what? He's Pitbull. He's like,
yeah.
Well, he's really DJ Khaled in that he's suffering from success.
Dude, when are you gonna make a Yoshi W best of compilation?
Yoshi W
for
best
Reed.
of
It's
compilation.
gonna be a
multiple
compilation.
episodes.
It's what it's gonna
After
be.
he makes the top 5 Leopold II moments.
Yes.
by
What the compilation is actually going to be is top 5 times Yoshi left halfway through the podcast to go have sex.
Oh,
I think he's going right now.
This is one of those times.
gotcha. Oh, I'm hearing intense from
okay. Well, no,
downstairs.
the dramatization
All right,
is
well-
not necessary.
Sam, do you want to quickly talk about anything political before we end it? Or
Well,
are you
I
good?
mean, I don't know how likely it is just because of
This is-
school, but I am actually hoping to, in my writing, run for member of parliament. If there's an
and
election
that's why you
happening.
had to leave the first podcast because it was going to ruin your career in office.
I mean, there's no way anyone actually would find that, but if for some reason someone did, it probably would.
Your association with this brand would
With-
be
with
enough to
this
take down your
terrible
entire
podcast.
career.
Joe, I'm joshing with you, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like politics doesn't need to be a part of this podcast, but I don't
It's
No,
too
no,
late.
it's the
It's
main
already been.
part.
It's already a part of it.
We spent like 40 minutes talking about monarchy, and it was the most boring shit I've ever heard.
Oh wow, I need to read some socialist theory. That's what,
Okay, you enjoy that. We're gonna wrap up the podcast. Yoshi's once again. I think he just did it for a joke this time, but he's once again not here for the final moments.
That's unfortunate.
Which is, he's actually never actually made it to the very end of the podcast.
and this is
Not
my first
one
time.
episode. Yeah,
Oh yeah, you made it.
you did it before Yoshi did.
I'm proud.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, everyone, to this. This one was a little bit more cuckoo crazy than any of the other episodes, for sure. But yeah, there's some goofs and gaffs in here. Next time we'll have one guest the whole time, is the idea.
Nice.
Thank you for tuning in. Ciao.
For now.